Imagine stepping into your garden and instead of climbing ladders, cutting heavy branches, or waiting years for a tree to finally produce, you're surrounded by compact plants at waist height, each one overflowing with food. No towering trees or wasted space, just dense, efficient harvests all within easy reach. Baskets filled with berries, fresh herbs ready anytime, small shrubs so loaded with fruit that their branches bend under the weight. These plants don't just grow quickly, they produce at a level that often surpasses traditional fruit trees. In this guide, you'll discover 8 compact plants that can yield several times more food per square foot than standard fruit trees. No ladders, no delays, just smart, space-efficient abundance. And make sure to stay until the end. The final plants may completely change how you approach gardening. 1. Raspberries. The self-expanding producer. If blackberries are structured and controlled, raspberries are dynamic and constantly expanding. They are compact, fast-growing, and extremely productive, turning a small planting into a self-renewing system over time. What begins as just a few canes can quickly develop into a dense, fruit-producing patch. Plant a couple of canes this season, and by next year you'll already see expansion. Within 2 years, you can have a fully developed area producing significant yields. This is because raspberries spread naturally by sending up new shoots, called suckers, from their base. Each of these becomes a new fruiting cane, allowing the plant to multiply without extra effort. Instead of simply growing plants, you're building a system that keeps expanding and renewing itself. Unlike fruit trees that require years of waiting, raspberries begin producing quickly. A light harvest can appear in the first year with full production by the second. Their productivity comes from a simple cycle. Each cane lives for 2 years. The first year is focused on growth, while the second year is dedicated to fruiting. After that, the cane naturally dies, but by then, new canes are already in place to replace it. This creates a continuous cycle with no interruptions in production. Even more impressive are ever-bearing varieties, also called primocane types. These produce 2 harvests per year, one in early summer from older canes and another in fall from new growth. This means you get fresh fruit twice in a single season, unlike most fruit trees that produce only once. In terms of space efficiency, raspberries are extremely effective. Each cane takes up very little room, but can produce a large number of berries. When grown along a fence or trellis, multiple canes can be packed into a small area, creating high yields in a narrow space. Harvesting is also easy. The fruit grows at a comfortable height, making it accessible without tools or effort. You don't need ladders, and there's less risk of losing fruit to birds or damage. Maintenance is simple. After fruiting, old canes are removed and new ones continue growing. With basic support and occasional compost, they thrive in a variety of conditions, even in containers or raised beds. Another advantage is the extended harvest period. By combining different varieties, you can enjoy fruit from early summer through late autumn, with changing flavors and textures throughout the season. A small patch can produce surprisingly large yields. In fact, a modest area can match or even exceed the output of a full-sized fruit tree while taking up far less space. Raspberries show that productivity isn't about size. It's about efficiency, renewal, and smart growth. 2. Blueberries. Compact and highly efficient. Blueberries may not look impressive at first glance, but they are among the most reliable and productive fruit plants you can grow. They stay relatively small, require minimal maintenance, and consistently produce strong harvests year after year. Unlike large fruit trees, blueberries make full use of their structure. Nearly every branch on a mature bush produces fruit, from the inner stems to the outer tips. This means no wasted space. The entire plant contributes to production. A single bush, only a few feet tall, can produce a significant amount of fruit each season. And because several bushes can fit into the space of one tree, the total yield per area is much higher. Their compact size makes them ideal for small gardens. They grow well in beds, raised planters, or even large containers. Their natural shape is neat and rounded, requiring very little pruning beyond removing old or damaged branches. Harvesting is simple and convenient. The fruit is easy to reach, and protecting it from birds is straightforward. A simple net can cover the entire plant quickly. Blueberries also add beauty to the garden. In spring, they produce delicate blossoms that attract pollinators. In summer, they provide fruit. In autumn, their leaves turn vibrant shades of red and orange, adding seasonal color. They are especially well suited for container growing because they prefer acidic soil. By controlling the soil mix, you can create ideal conditions even in small spaces like patios or balconies. Another advantage is how quickly they begin producing. Many varieties start fruiting within a couple of years, much sooner than traditional fruit trees. The fruit also stores well. When frozen shortly after harvest, blueberries maintain their flavor and nutritional value, making them useful long after the growing season ends. In simple terms, small size, high output, long lifespan, minimal effort. Blueberries demonstrate how efficient and productive small-scale gardening can be, delivering consistent results without requiring large space or intensive care. 3. Gooseberries, tough producers for shaded spaces. If blueberries are precise and controlled, gooseberries are resilient and adaptable, and that's exactly what makes them so valuable. Unlike many fruit plants that require full sun and ideal conditions, gooseberries are far less demanding. They grow well in partial shade, cooler areas, and even those overlooked corners of the garden where other crops struggle. They turn underused spaces into productive growing zones. A mature gooseberry bush stays compact, usually around 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, but its yield can be surprisingly high. Even with minimal care, it can produce 5 to 8 pounds of fruit each year. In fact, cooler weather often improves their flavor rather than slowing them down. When fruiting begins, the transformation is striking. The branches bend under the weight of dozens of round, semi-transparent berries in shades of green, yellow, or red. In sunlight, they almost glow, and because the plant remains low and open, harvesting is easy and comfortable. One of the reasons gooseberries are so easy to maintain is their fruiting habit. They produce on older wood, not just new growth. To keep them productive, all you need to do is remove a few of the oldest branches each year. New shoots naturally replace them, keeping the plant healthy without complicated pruning. They are also self-fertile, meaning a single plant can produce a full harvest, ideal for small gardens or limited spaces. Their cold resistance is another major advantage. Late frosts that damage other fruit crops rarely affect gooseberries, and even harsh winters have little impact on them. In the kitchen, gooseberries are incredibly versatile. When slightly underripe, they have a tart flavor perfect for jams, sauces, and desserts. As they fully ripen, they become sweeter while still retaining a refreshing tang. They're also excellent for preservation, whether making jams, freezing, fermenting, or using them in cooking. Because they thrive in partial shade, gooseberries help balance your garden by producing food in areas where sun-loving plants cannot grow. They prove that even the less ideal parts of your garden can still be highly productive. Strong, reliable, and easy to manage, gooseberries are one of the most dependable fruit bushes you can grow. 4. Blackberries, high-yield vertical growers. If there were awards in gardening, blackberries would easily rank among the most underrated producers. Many people still picture them as wild, thorny plants that are difficult to manage. But modern varieties are completely different, thornless, controlled, and designed for high productivity. Instead of large fruit trees that require years to mature, blackberries can be grown neatly along a fence or trellis. Each cane produces clusters of fruit that are easy to reach and harvest. In the same amount of space a single tree might occupy, a row of blackberries can produce several times more fruit. The reason is simple: blackberries grow vertically. Each cane acts like a column, producing fruit in layers from bottom to top. Instead of spreading wide like a tree canopy, they build upward, making efficient use of space. They also produce relatively quickly. While fruit trees often take years to yield, many modern blackberry varieties begin producing within 18 to 24 months after planting. Their growth cycle is simple and efficient. In the first year, the plant focuses on growing new canes. In the second year, those same canes produce fruit. After harvesting, the old canes are removed, while new ones are already developing to replace them. This creates a continuous cycle of production without gaps. A well-maintained plant can produce 10 to 20 pounds of fruit, and with multiple canes growing together, yields can quickly reach 40 to 60 pounds from a small area. This makes them highly productive for home gardens. Blackberries are also easy to preserve. They freeze well, dry easily, and are perfect for jams, desserts, and other recipes. Another advantage is their resilience. They adapt to different soil conditions, tolerate periods of low water, and generally require less attention than many fruit trees. For best results, they should be grown along a trellis or fence to keep the canes organized and upright. After fruiting, pruning is simple. Remove the old canes and leave the strongest new ones for the next season. Modern thornless varieties make maintenance even easier, turning pruning into a straightforward and manageable task. While fruit trees require space, time, and ongoing effort, blackberries offer a more efficient approach. They grow upward, produce consistently, and provide large harvests from a relatively small area, making them one of the smartest choices for productive gardening. 5. Currants, compact clusters of high yield. If gooseberries are masters of shaded spaces, currants are like living strands of jewels hanging in your garden. These elegant shrubs combine simplicity with impressive productivity. Their branches carry long strings of tightly packed berries, creating clusters that resemble beads, red, black, or white, depending on the type. At peak season, a single bush can look completely covered in fruit. What makes currants especially valuable is how their productivity improves over time. Instead of declining, they become more productive as they mature. Each year, new woody growth develops, supporting more fruiting points. A young plant may give modest yields, but after several years it transforms into a highly productive bush. Mature plants can produce up to around 10 pounds of fruit, and because the berries grow in dense clusters, harvesting is quick and efficient. You don't need to search through the plant. Each handful gathers multiple berries at once. Currants are also easy to maintain. They don't require heavy pruning or constant care. Removing some of the oldest branches every few years is enough to keep them healthy and productive. Beyond that, they largely take care of themselves. Their compact size, usually around 3 to 5 feet tall, makes them ideal for smaller gardens. They fit neatly along paths, fences, or between beds without taking over space. They also tolerate cooler climates and partial shade, making them more adaptable than many fruit plants. Another advantage is their longevity. Once planted, currants can continue producing for 15 to 20 years with minimal effort, making them a long-term investment in your garden. Different varieties offer different benefits. Red currants are bright and tangy, perfect for jams and fresh use. White currants are milder and sweeter, ideal for desserts. Black currants are rich, intense, and packed with nutrients, often used in syrups and preserves. They also support pollinators early in the season and provide food for birds later on, helping maintain a balanced garden ecosystem. Currants can even be grown in containers, making them suitable for smaller or urban spaces. Planting multiple varieties can extend the harvest period and improve pollination. Overall, currants show that you don't need large plants to achieve high yields. They are compact, efficient, and quietly produce far more than their size suggests. 6. Honeyberries, the earliest harvest of the season. If there were a competition for the earliest fruit in the garden, honeyberries would easily come out on top. Also known as haskop in colder regions, these shrubs are among the first to wake up after winter. They begin growing and producing long before most other fruit plants, often before strawberries or even lawns fully green up. Imagine stepping outside in early spring and already finding ripe berries ready to pick. While other plants are just starting to grow, honeyberries are already moving from flowering to fruiting. In cooler climates, they can ripen several weeks before strawberries, giving you one of the first fresh harvests of the year. Their compact size, at typically around 3 to 5 feet tall, makes them easy to fit into any garden layout. They maintain a neat, rounded shape and don't spread aggressively, making them suitable for borders, beds, or containers. One of their biggest strengths is their resistance to cold. Originating from extremely cold regions, they can tolerate very low temperatures. Late frosts that damage other fruit plants rarely affect them, and even snowy conditions during flowering often don't prevent fruit production. However, they do require cross-pollination. This means you need at least 2 compatible varieties planted close together to ensure good yields. While this requires a bit of planning, it results in reliable and consistent harvests. Another advantage is timing. Because they ripen so early, they often avoid heavy bird pressure. Wildlife tends to focus on later fruits, which means you get to enjoy more of your harvest without needing protection. The berries themselves are unique. They are elongated, deep blue on the outside and soft with a reddish interior. Their flavor is a mix of blueberry and raspberry with a slightly wild, tangy sweetness. They are also packed with antioxidants and nutrients. Honeyberries are excellent for fresh eating, but they also freeze well and can be used in jams, syrups, and desserts without losing their quality. They also act as early indicators in the garden. Because they leaf out so soon, they help you understand how your soil and growing conditions are performing before other plants begin active growth. Perhaps most importantly, they produce quickly. You can expect meaningful harvest within just a year or two after planting, without long waiting periods. Honeyberries represent speed, resilience, and efficiency. They deliver fruit early, handle tough conditions, and require minimal effort, making them an essential addition for anyone who wants results without waiting years. 7. Strawberries, a ground-level powerhouse of yield. When it comes to maximizing harvest in a small space, strawberries are hard to beat. Despite their small size, they outperform many larger fruit plants in terms of productivity per square meter. Strawberries grow low to the ground, forming a dense, spreading layer that acts almost like a living carpet. What makes them especially effective is their ability to reproduce through runners. Each plant sends out thin stems that root when they touch the soil, creating new plants automatically. Over time, a single plant can multiply into a much larger fruit-producing patch without extra effort. This natural expansion creates a self-sustaining system. As the patch grows, so does its output, turning a small planting area into a continuous source of fresh fruit. With good conditions, even a small space can produce several pounds of strawberries per season. Unlike fruit trees that require years before producing, strawberries begin yielding quickly. In many cases, you can harvest fruit within the same year they are planted. They remain highly productive for several seasons, and by the time older plants begin to decline, new ones from runners are already established. They are also incredibly flexible in how they can be grown. Strawberries work well in traditional garden beds, containers, hanging baskets, or vertical planters. This makes them ideal for small gardens, balconies, or patios where space is limited, but productivity is still possible. Their care requirements are simple. They need consistent moisture, slightly acidic soil, and occasional feeding. Adding mulch, often straw, helps retain moisture, keeps fruit clean, and reduces weed growth. Depending on the variety, you can choose between types that produce one large harvest or those that continue fruiting throughout the season. Either way, they provide a steady supply of sweet, fresh berries for weeks or even months. From a practical standpoint, strawberries are extremely efficient. A small area can produce far more usable food than many larger fruit plants, making them one of the best choices for high-yield gardening in limited space. 8. Herbs, small plants with constant output. While fruit plants offer seasonal harvests, herbs provide something different: continuous production. These small, resilient plants are incredibly productive in their own way. Instead of producing large amounts at once, they deliver steady harvests over time. Many herbs regrow quickly after cutting, allowing you to harvest them repeatedly throughout the season. Take basil as an example. With regular pruning, a single plant can produce large amounts of fresh leaves over time, enough for ongoing use in cooking. Parsley and cilantro behave similarly, growing back after each harvest and continuing to produce fresh foliage. Perennial herbs such as oregano, thyme, sage, chives, and rosemary are even more convenient. Once planted, they return year after year with very little maintenance. Some, like rosemary, can grow into long-lasting shrubs, while others spread gently and act as natural ground cover. One of the biggest advantages of herbs is how frequently they can be harvested. Instead of waiting for a single harvest period, you can collect leaves weekly or even daily. Many herbs also continue growing for long periods or return quickly after colder seasons. They are also extremely space efficient. Even a small patch or a few containers can produce a steady supply of fresh herbs. This makes them perfect for balconies, windowsills, or small garden areas. Herbs also play an important role in supporting the garden ecosystem. Some help repel pests, while others attract pollinators. This makes them excellent companion plants that improve the overall health of nearby crops. In addition, they are highly nutritious and full of flavor. Even small amounts can enhance meals, making them one of the most practical crops to grow at home. So they can also be dried, frozen, or preserved for long-term use. What makes herbs truly special is their immediacy. You don't need to wait long periods to benefit from them. Once planted, they begin providing value almost right away. While they may not produce large fruits, herbs offer something equally important: consistent harvests, convenience, and efficiency. They are a simple yet powerful addition to any garden, delivering ongoing results with minimal effort.